Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today we are going to be talking about some books that I am currently absolutely obsessed with that are on Kindle Unlimited. So if you don't know, Kindle Unlimited is a subscription service through Amazon where you pay a fee every month and you are able to download books and read them that are on Kindle Unlimited that are included in the subscription. You can have 20 downloaded into your library at a time, but you can always return and check out new ones, as many as you want. It's an unlimited each month, and I have had this for a really long time. I've had KU for ages, and some of these books I did read on KU. Some of them I read through the audiobook, and I just know they're on KU, so I didn't actually read some of these on KU, but some of them I did. So I'm gonna let you know what the ones that I'm currently obsessed with is. I've done this video before, so these are the ones that I've read within the last like 2 or 3 months for this video. So I'm gonna get into it, but yeah, books that I'm currently in love with that are on KU. So the first one, which will be to no surprise if you've heard me talk recently, and that is the Alliance series by S.J. Tilley. I went down this like crazy rabbit hole of mafia recently where I've been like really obsessed with anti-hero, morally gray heroes, and I've been reading a lot of plus size heroines, and it was recommended to me by Christy from Read Between the Wines on TikTok, and she was talking about it, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. I want a plus size heroine. So I downloaded it and I read first I read Nero, which is the first one. So basically the series as a whole follows mafia men who are members of this mafia organization called the Alliance. Nero and King, who are the heads of the Alliance, used to be part of another mafia, and basically they killed off the leaders and they united mafias in order to make this big giant mafia called the Alliance, and they are the heads of this. And so the first book is Nero's book, so he is one of the heads of the Alliance, and he is definitely morally gray, like might even be just like dark. He's like not just even morally gray, he's more like morally black. He is intense, and he is the head of the Alliance, and he is running away from the police one day when he sees an open balcony door and he needs to escape from the police, and so he goes into the balcony door, and the heroine is sitting on her couch and just chilling on her couch when all of a sudden this dude comes into her apartment and she's like, what the fuck? But then they're intrigued by each other, and then Nero stalks her. And she's into it, and she's into the stalking. She's a virgin heroine, she's plus sized, and Nero becomes so deeply obsessed with her, and he needs her, and it was great. I gave that one 4 stars. The second book, King, I gave 5 stars. King is the other head of the Alliance, and he is Nero's best friend, and his romance is with a heroine that accidentally sees him kill somebody, so he kidnaps the heroine and takes her back to his house and forces her to marry him so that she can't speak against him on trial. It's so good. The heroine is pissed off at first. She is not about being kidnapped and being forced into this marriage, but their romance that develops is so good. The heroes become so deeply obsessed with their heroines. It's amazing. And it's great because like the heroines are not in their plans at all. They have so many plans and ideas of how things are gonna go. They think that they're so in control, and then these heroines come and like blow their lives up, and they just are like, I don't know what to do. I need her to be happy, and that's all I've got. And then the third book in the series is Dom, and Dom's heroine is King's half-sister, and Dom is the head of the Italian mafia, and he basically wants to be part of the Alliance because he wants the Alliance's help with a problem that he has, and so he has a romance with King's half-sister where he pretends that he doesn't know who she is, and she thinks that everything's happening by fate, but he actually is pulling all the strings, and they end up getting drunk, married in Vegas, and he is like, shows up at King's house and is like, I married your sister. I need your help. I'm part of the Alliance now. And so the heroine is shocked by this, but Dom is so obsessive, so protective. All 3 of these heroes are so touch her and die, possessive anti-heroes. It's fabulous. I love it. If you want like seriously chaotic heroes, go for it. I swear, it's really, really good. Continuing along the theme of darker romances, the next series, it's another series that's on KU that I'm currently so in love with, is the Guild series by Tate James. I love Tate James. That is not a secret. She is one of my favorite authors. The Hades series and the Madison Kate series are two of my favorite reverse harem series ever. And I finally finished the Guild series. I had read Honey Trap, which is book 1, in December of last year, I think, and I just never continued the series, never finished it. There's 3. And I finally read the other 2 in the series like 2 months ago or last month, and I don't know why I didn't finish it earlier. It's so good. I loved this series. This is not reverse harem, it's actually MFM. And the heroine is part of an assassin. She's an assassin, and she's part of this guild of assassins, which basically like creates assassins from children, and like raises them to be assassins, and she is part of this. And she is a honey trap, and so her job is to basically sleep with or flirt with men in order to get secrets out of them. That's what she does. And one of the heroes is actually a guy that she honey traps, and the other hero is another member of the the Guild of Assassins. His name is Leon. And the 2 heroes in this book hate each other. I had never read a dynamic like this before. Most of my like favorite part about reverse harems or books with multiple heroes and one heroine is that a lot of the times the heroes in those books are very possessive, unless the heroes are together, unless it's MMF. But if it's MFM, or if it's any more men but they're not together, like in a harem, they are usually very obsessive, very protective of the heroine. They don't want to share her, but they grow to learn that they have to share her in order to have her. And the way that that dynamic worked in this series was amazing, because the 2 heroes want to murder each other for the entire thing. They are so deeply against each other, and it is fabulous. I loved it. It was so cool. And then the heroine was such a badass. I loved her so much. She was just so cool. The twists and turns in this series, a lot of it I was not expecting either. It was very interesting the way that the plot went, and I wasn't bored at all. Tate James' spice is fantastic. So if you want something spicy, this is definitely one that you can pick up, because this series was wildly spicy. And it was just so interesting, dark, spicy, intriguing. I had such a good time with it, and I don't know why I didn't read it earlier, but it was so good. Another win for Tate James for me. The next one that I have is one that I actually have a physical copy of, so I can grab it right here. And that is actually Bonded by Thorns is book 1, but the Beasts of Briar series. So this is a reverse harem Beauty and the Beast retelling series. There are currently only 2 books out. The 3rd book comes out in December, I believe. And I don't know when the others come out, but I think there's going to be like 5 or 6 in the series, according to the author's Instagram. But this is a, like I said, reverse harem Beauty and the Beast retelling. The heroine in this one is from this small town where she is thought of as the like crazy weirdo. Her father thinks that fairies killed his wife, and so he has gone off on search of the fae for like her whole life, and the town is like, he's crazy, he's wild, and because they think he's weird, they think she's weird. And so one day she finds out that her father has like gone missing. She found his coat, somebody found his coat in the woods, and so she goes after him, and she ends up stumbling through this bush into an alternate fae world where she meets the 4 princes of the seasons, the four fae princes, who are living in this castle together who have all been cursed. And her father is being held captive there, and she decides to exchange her captivity for him to let him go. And so she's held captive by these 4 Fae princes. There's obviously romance, there's intrigue, there's another 5th possible hero. I don't know if he's going to be a hero or if he's still a villain. I really can't tell. The dynamic is really interesting. There's elements in this book also, so it's MMFMM with possibly another M on there. I don't know. But the series is so interesting and atmospheric. Like, I really liked the way that they described things. And like this book is not really long. I really think that it it's only like 320 pages. And a lot of times, like, fantasy books like this, they're so long and overly saturated. And I felt like this one was a really good length to get the first book in the series. And then the second book was also really, really good. I really liked it. I like read it so quickly. I was so intrigued by it, didn't want to put it down. I had such a good time with it, and it kills me that the series is not fully out because I really, really, really want to read more of it. So in December, I'm definitely going to read book 3, which I think is called Forged by Malice. But I'm highly intrigued to see where it goes because there's so many questions that I still have, and it's just been a long time since I've been really, really excited by like a fantasy series. And so I really, really loved this one. The next one that I have that I am currently deeply obsessed with, that I just read recently, and I know that this is kind of sucky for me to put this on here because this book is not out yet. But it will be out so soon when I put this video up. And that is Shadows of You by Catherine Cowles. And I feel okay putting this book on this list because the whole series is on KU. And I did love the other ones in the series, but this one is now my new favorite one in this series. It might be my new favorite Catherine Cowles book. I adored this. I read the audiobook early. I read the ARC, and it was fabulous. So, so good. I've loved Catherine Cowles for a while now, since her Tattered and Torn series, but this one blew me out of the water. I was so, so, so in love with it. It is the hero named Roan, who is sort of damaged. He doesn't like to be around a lot of people. He lives very secluded in a cabin, and he works for Fish and Wildlife. He prefers really the company of animals over the company of people. He just feels uncomfortable with a lot of people around. And he has a romance with a single mom heroine who is on the run from a man who wants to harm her. She has some trauma in her past that she's trying to keep secret from everyone. She's moved to this small town and she's lived there for a while, and she's just trying to raise her child in safety. But she is so like on edge a lot because she has this fear that this man is going to find them and come after them. And the heroine, whose name I of course can't remember, Aspen, I think it's Aspen. The heroine Aspen, she loves to take in wounded animals and like rehabilitate them, help them out. She has like a lot of animals on her land that are kind of wounded or were kicked out or anything, and she basically finds this deer that's been wounded, and she calls Fish and Wildlife to try and come and help her make sure this deer is okay. And Roan comes, and they end up having this really interesting, great chemistry together. They just are so, so good together. Roan understands what she's been through. I don't want to spoil anything, but basically Aspen's in a situation where people don't believe her about the trauma that she had. And Roan in the past was considered a suspect for a shooting that happened in the town, and a lot of people in the town are suspicious of him, and they still think that he might have been involved. And so he's had people turn on him, had people not believe him when he's gone through a trauma, and so they kind of bond with their trauma. And It is an absolutely amazing, adorable romance. It's this romantic suspense. There is definitely more suspense in this one than some of her other ones, but I absolutely adore it. Catherine has the absolute perfect balance of romance and suspense. I don't care about the suspense if the romance is not up to par, and this is just the perfect mixed level of romance and suspense, and I'm so happy with it, and I highly recommend picking this one up when it comes out. I will let you know what the release date is. This one comes out October 19th, I believe, and so I would highly recommend picking it up. The rest of the series is also on KU, and it is really good. The rest of the series, the one that was my favorite before this one was Whispers of You, which is actually the first one, but they're all romantic suspense. They have multiple different tropes in them, and I would definitely recommend giving them a try because they're so freaking good. The next one that I have is another Mafia one, and it's actually another series because the whole series is on KU, and I've been reading all of them recently, and that is the Perfectly Imperfect series by Neva Altaj. I actually have a physical copy of the first 3 books. It's like a bound copy of the first 3 altogether, but these ones are Mafia romances, and they're all short. They're all like 250 to just 300 pages, if 300 pages. So they're all pretty short, and they're quick, fun, easy reads, and they all have a dark element to them because they're all mafia, and they all have possessive heroes, pretty badass heroines, multiple different tropes, but there are a lot of arranged marriages in it because it is mafia, and that is a very common trope in mafia, and I absolutely love it. I have read up to book 6, I think, and I think the one that I read recently, which is book 6, is probably my favorite so far in the series, but I have really enjoyed all of them. I know what I'm getting with them. The lowest rating that I think I've given any of them was, I think I gave one 3.5 stars, but the rest of them have been 4 stars and above. I think I've given 2 5 stars in the series of the 6 that I've read, and 1 or 2 4.5 stars. So I have really liked almost all of them, and I think that they're so freaking good. One thing about this series also is that each of the members in here of their mafia are perfectly imperfect. They have some sort of illness or injury or mental health representation. So one of the heroes, a couple of the heroes are amputees. Some of them are scarred. I think one of them is missing an eye. I think that one of them, his hand is really like damaged. I think one of them has like some pretty severe anxiety issues, and they just all have different forms of like representation in them. So they're these like very dominant, very possessive, very dark men, but who all have some sort of element to them that would make them seem in a normal mafia setting to be like less manly, I guess, because maybe they're missing a leg, though I think in book 1 he's also a wheelchair user, so they're just like seen as like less strong in the mafia, and so I really love the representation. I think they're so good, so fun, and would highly recommend them. Last one that I have to mention is another one that I read really recently. I actually just finished it like yesterday or the day before, and that is For the Fans by Nyla K. I loved this book. This is a ridiculously long book. It's like 750 pages or something, but it was so freaking good. It is a romance where the 2 heroes are stepbrothers. Their parents marry each other when they're in high school, so they are like 15, I think, when they first meet each other, when their parents are starting dating and introducing their families, and they despise each other. They hate each other so much. And so the 2 heroes, their names are Avi and Kyron, and they're very different. Avi is very artsy, very kind of angsty, emo kind of phase, and Kyron is a quarterback of the football team, perfect grades, kind of preppy boy. And so they're very different, and they do not get along. But this book starts when they're very young, because they start when they first meet, when they're in their teens. And the book continues, and it does some couple of like flash forwards till the actual like majority of the book takes place when they are in college. They both go to the same college. They go to BC. It really like starts to get going when their father, or the father of Kyron's father, Avi's stepfather, his business goes under, and so he can no longer afford to pay for either of them for college. He cannot help them financially for college. They both have scholarships, but it doesn't cover everything, and so the two of them are incredibly desperate for money in order to stay in school because they hate going home, and so they end up having an OnlyFans together and doing porn together in order to make money to stay in school. And neither of them think that they're gay at first. It is a bi awakening for one of them, a gay awakening for the other, or like he sort of always knew he was gay, but it was like a lot of internalized homophobia in that one. But yeah, it was a wild ride. It was very different than anything I had ever read. It was very long, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. One of the things that I loved about it was how in-depth you got into the relationship. The fact that you started from when they first met and you're going so long and you have so much information about who each of the characters are, their interactions, how they've been for so long. It was really, really well done, and you got to know the characters so well throughout the whole book that seeing them together, seeing them grow together, I loved all of the scenes with them. I thought it was done so fabulously. So it's a wild ride, and it's definitely a commitment because it's so long, but it is so good, and I would highly recommend it. But I think that's the last one that I'm going to recommend for this video. I'm sure I will do another one of these videos later on when I have more books that I'm obsessed with. But these are the ones for right now that I cannot stop thinking about. So that's going to be it for this video. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe, see more content from me, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite book you've read on KU has been recently. But that's going to be it. So I hope that you have the absolute best day.